So everybody wants to be a critic. There are people who want to judge others based on who they're dating, what clothes they're wearing, where they live, their educational background, what types of movies they like and dislike, what are their things that they're involved in, whether it's social or political or governmental views, what they should and should not believe in, and so on and so forth, what they should eat, where they should eat, how they should dress, who they should talk to, whom they should think about, what types of avenues in terms of education and all of that. So there's so many different things in the world. The world is bigger than that people usually know, and so everybody doesn't practice the same beliefs and they don't have the same views. They may view things differently out of their own personal lens. And so a lot of times you have people that are critics on different sites, and they're good about criticizing certain issues, and some people, they'll go so far as to read books and they'll do research and they'll try to investigate things, and when they might even be pretty, crafty with investigating and research. But trust me, where you find one piece of literature, there's thousands and thousands and millions of more different views of that particular subject matter. So just because you have formed a personal opinion on an issue doesn't mean that you're smarter than the next person. It just means those are your personal views. So the other thing is that I noticed that you'll have people that'll bash even people who make a video about maybe certain issues, and they'll belittle. And where it becomes a problem is when you have people that kind of look up other groups that they disagree with and belittle and bash them or harm them or threaten them. And a lot of times, it starts with things that people have been taught, and people are not happy, and there's a lot of anger and there's a lot of frustration out there. So I took it upon myself to look up what a critic is, and a critic is a professional who communicates an assessment and an opinion of various forms of creative work such as art, literature, music, cinema, theater, fashion, architecture, and food. Critics may also take as their subject social or government policy. Critical judgments, whether derived from critical thinking or not, weigh up a range of factors, including an assessment of the extent to which the item under review achieves its purpose and its creator's intention, and a knowledge of its context. They may also include a positive or negative personal response. And I thought that was important when it said personal response. So a lot of times, characteristics of a good critic are articulateness, where they can articulate things pretty well and convey information, relatively concise and thorough, preferably having the ability to use language with a high level of appeal and skill. And I thought that was important because a lot of people will make videos, and some people will appear to be so highly educated, and they'll always tell you that they have certain degrees or a level of expertise on a specific topic. And those are some skills that they may have or may not have, or they may just be pushing that so that they can build a greater audience. Sympathy, sensitivity, and insight are important too. So those are some other qualities. Form, style, and a medium are all considered by the critic. In architecture and food criticism, the item's function, value, and cost may be added components. So these are things that people are usually, when they're criticizing other social groups or certain ethnic groups or certain views of the world, maybe some of it is personal, and then they have a particular passion for it, or maybe they had a bad experience with that food or with that individual, or with one or two restaurants, or maybe they have, maybe they don't value marriage the same way other people value marriage. Maybe they think people shouldn't be married. Maybe they think that's a man made construct. Maybe they view more common law husband wife, or maybe they view the world as it should be more marriage equality, and people should be allowed to marry people as long as they're adult, consenting adults, and that they have similar views of political issues or maybe social issues, or if they find love with someone who is at least legal age, of course. There are lots of critics in the world. There's also, issues around government policy, certain laws that are passed, and things like that. So, you could go on and on and on about criticism and critics and all the critics that there are, and we do have plenty of them here in America. And there's a lot of issues that are political. There's a lot of issues that are criticized, a lot of people who are criticized for whatever their beliefs or whatever their positions are. And so, with that being said, I'm full aware now that even with relationships with individuals, that will mark on whether you agree or agree to disagree and how your relationship will go. So that might have a good indicator as to why some relationships work out and others don't. Because some people go in a relationship or in a marriage not really knowing who they're getting involved with, and they think that this person has similar views. Maybe there's one view that people hold strongly to, and as long as that other person agrees with it, then they can see themselves with that individual, and everything else can be worked out or it can be managed. So here you see there are different clips that I have that talk about some of the different issues and some of the different things that are criticized in the world: socialism, capitalism, historicism. And so everybody, like I said, has a different way of looking at life and looking at the world. And no one person or no two people see things eye to eye always entirely. So I noticed that a lot of times people like to belittle and bash people they feel that are weaker or that aren't as powerful, don't have as much voice in the world, and usually are put at the background or are ignored more often. And a lot of times when a person is treated disrespectfully, or they're ignored, or they're left without voice to view the world the way they see things, how it's been going for them, and not say anything about it, and others dominate. This is the type of things that happen. So like I said, I love these charts. It's showing behavior, values, beliefs, and worldview shaped by religion, philosophy, friends, and media. And a lot of times people will say that they're happy to be in America, and they do the Pledge of Allegiance, but when you look at all of the things that are happening, even like from the past up till now, a lot of people are ashamed of some of the government laws and some of the things that have happened even in the past that have shaped the way the world is now. So a lot of people will say, "Oh, don't look at the past," but a lot of what has happened in the past has shaped the way people have been taught, what they've learned, and how they view the world. So some people are against, different people getting together, if they're interracial, if they're LGBT people, if they're, from a different country, or they have a different custom. Some people are having different views on immigration issues and policies. Some people want to use racism as a marker to say that it's discriminatory, but then other people delve deeper in that whole issue and say, no, it's not an issue of discrimination. It's more an issue of respect for American government and the laws of the land, and not violating American citizens' rights, and giving people a chance to become American citizens versus people who are not abiding by the rules of the land and the laws that have been set in motion. So there's lots of different views, how people view genders, males and females, and who should be able to speak at a podium and talk about political issues. Should it be a male-centered dominated situation, or should they have more inclusion of females who have also been very educated on the subject matter of political issues in the world, and be able to voice different positions of opinions that would be useful as well. And a lot of times things have always been dominated by a certain individual or a certain gender group. Then you have those people that want things to stay the same. They don't want changes, and a lot of times they don't view females as being the stronger sex. It's more a sexist society or misogynist society. They even want to take things and turn it around and flip it around to say, oh, it's actually the other way. Women are abusive and women are bad. And it's kind of putting women down to say that women are bad, and they're abusive, and they need to be put in their place, and they need to be controlled. And when you have people with those attitudes, then you see it more as a negative rather than a positive. And that group has always been taught to be the head or the leader, and to try to dominate another group of people, and to put people down, and to make people feel less than they are. And I believe everybody should be treated with respect, or levels of respect, and that is due. And I really think that just because someone is female doesn't mean that she's weaker. She may have different talents. She may be stronger in other areas that a male may not be stronger in. And it may be as, if not as good or even better, to give other people chances to shine, and to be able to speak, and to be able to come forward and voice opinions that may be also helpful in society. I don't feel like one should be put upon the other, and then to inflict punitive religions where you're forcing people to do certain things that they really don't want to do. I don't agree with that as well. But somebody might get upset just because I'm saying these things, and they may bash the video. They may want to bash me. They want to call me out or something like that. But I don't care, because I know who I am as a person, and I know I'm a good person, and I know that whatever people are doing and saying out there doesn't define who I really am, because first of all, they don't really know me. So I don't let that really bother me. But there are a lot of people who they'll make these videos to hurt people and defame people or put people down, and to be extremely harsh in criticism. And it's more personal and emotional, and they do things to try to spite people or make people feel like they're beneath them, or they're less than them, or oh, she doesn't have enough education, and she hasn't looked up this subject that long enough to speak on it. And it's just like, you have people that want to dominate everything, because it's always been taught to them to be the dominating factor in all of it. But here in America, you have lots of political and social issues, and even issues that are just, like about society, what people should wear, how they should wear their hair, how they should look, what bathroom you should go to and not go to, what restaurant you should eat in, what foods you should eat, who you should date, who you should talk to and not talk to, what clubs you should join or not join, who you should follow, what religions, or whether you're in one or are not in one. So there's all kinds of things going on. So I've said this before to say that a lot of people need to change their ways of thinking, because the world is bigger than we know. And I think that here in America, there is room for change. Always, always room for changes.